So today on Is It Worth It? Join me on this glorious day in Manchester at Nissan Westway. We've got the Nissan X-Trail here. We did have the Qashqai E-power on the channel last time. Have a look up there if you want to check that out as well. But this time we've got the bigger brother, E-power X-Trail. And we're going to give it a full test drive and review, find out whether it's worth it. But most importantly though, we'd like to know what you think in the comment section below after this video. So let's get right to it. Nissan designed the X-Trail to be sort of an SUV family crossover, and it's the largest model Nissan do in their range. Just a bit bigger than your standard Qashqai. And if you do enjoy this content, which I'm hoping you do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. So the model's been around for 22 plus years, and the X-Trails are imported from Japan, and it's now in its 4th generation. So this is Nissan's current design language, and they call it the V motion. As you can see, we've got this big V grille there with the Nissan badge as well. They've really set it apart from what was the previous generation, which just looked like a slightly bigger Qashqai, but this just looks totally different. How they've given the X-Trail its own sort of design signature language. I like it. At the front here, you've got these wraparound LED lights and their daytime running lights in this nice pearlescent white, as you can see in the sun. It really stands out. And you've got this wraparound front chrome bottom bumper. So let's have a look at the side, and first off, this is the Techno trim. You get 19-inch alloy wheels in their diamond cut. They've gone for slightly different A-pillar with a two-tone colour, really sets the car apart. You've got also some really cool creases here just to make it stand out a bit more. The E-power logo, some chrome side skirts. So yeah, blacked out rear tinted windows, huge panoramic roof as well, which I'll touch on. You've even got the roof bars as well. And at the end, you've got the wraparound boomerang style rear taillights. You can actually get the X-Trail in a 7-seater format as well. So let's take a look at the rear, and you've got the X-Trail logo, as you can see, really piercing, stands out, looks very exclusive. You've got the Nissan badge here. You've also got a camera here as well for your reverse cameras just underneath. It is electronic tailgate, and you've got a very prominent brake light at the top, looks really cool. But the big standout feature for me is definitely the wraparound boomerang styled LED rear taillights. At the bottom here, you've got quite a big chrome bumper here. It's kind of some smooth plastic as well. You've got a little bit of a spoiler under here, and you've got the shark fin for aerodynamics. Nissan promised with a 5-seater E-power setup, you actually get 575 litres of space. It's actually 10 litres less than in the standard mild hybrid. As you can see, absolutely loads of room. You've got your 12-volt socket here on the side. You've got some compartments here that you can move around, and you've got a load cover as well, but all this can be folded down as well. You don't get a spare tyre, but you do get a standard compression kit inside. The seats do fold down. I'll try and show you now. You've got to go here, fold all this down. I wish there was just a pulley lever here. As you can see, you've got no high load lip, so getting stuff in is easy, it's not obstructing. You get a real level boot space. So what's the X-Trail like inside? And first off, I do like the mix of materials. Across the dash here, you've got some soft and hard leather with some oak effect on the dash. It's really nice mixed with chrome. Feels very sturdy in the middle. You've even got this lower sort of cubby here, a little extra as well. You've actually got the Nissan established in 1933 Yokohama in there as well. So just little differences really make it just feel a bit more unique. It's all just nicely laid out around you. I like it. Really silky smooth steering wheel with a squared off bottom. You've got a 12-inch touchscreen. You've also got another 12-inch, which isn't touchscreen, but that's your digital gauge cluster. You can get a heads-up display as well, but this one here has Apple CarPlay wireless as standard, but you don't get Android wireless as standard, which can be annoying, but you have to buy an extra adapter, but I've left a link in there for anyone who's interested. But yeah, the graphics on here are very nice. It feels like an Android tablet, but it does work really well. Very responsive, it's nice and bright, it doesn't lag. What is cool is you get your 3D camera view. I like how Nissan have kept it old school with their air conditioning. You do get a nice little display to show you temperature, which is digital, but the buttons are actually tactile, and you've got a nice toggle wheel here. But it's dual aircon, and you can also get heated seats on there as well. In the center console though, you've got 2 huge cup holders. You can fit anything in there. It's like a piano black kind of soft finish with a wireless charging pad as well. And you've got USB-C 12-volt socket and a standard USB port as well. In the middle cubby, you've got a lot of space. It's quite deep in there. There's no USBs or anything actually. It's just a big space to put your coins in, and that opens up. You've got your driving mode here, gear selector, which I'll talk a bit more about, EV mode, and e-pedal. You've even got your auto parking as well. But what is a standout feature is the huge panoramic roof. It's two-step as well, so you can have it just halfway and then it goes to the back as well. The only thing is, what isn't electric is your steering column adjustment. It's just basic, just manual really, but to be honest, that's not really that much of a concern. So what's the practicality like in the back? Well, first off, this is the 5-seater version. You can actually get a 7-seater, which obviously would impede on the boot space, but you can fold them seats down. But you can move your seats back and forth, but they're not electric. The seats are really well padded, really firm, really good back support. I like that. Pretty good knee room. It's nice and comfortable here at the back. You're not scraping on any hard plastics. I do like the lowered footwells that you get with the passenger seats at the rear. I mean, in the middle, it's kind of raised a little bit, so your knees are quite high up. It seems to be a little bit of touching with my hair at the top of the roof line, but do you know what? It's adequate, it's okay. And I'm just over 6'1". You've got your ISOFIX fixtures just in the middle here. You do have a middle seat, but this can be folded down to an armrest. And the doors do open quite wide as well, which is good, so easy access in and out. For your rear passengers, if the sun gets too much, you've got some rear blinds here. In the middle, you've got your heated seats and a tiny little screen for your air conditioning. You've got a USB-C and a USB standard port as well. Let's go and take it for a ride and find out what the X-Trail is all about. The car we're driving today is the Tecna. It's got a 1.5 petrol and it's the 2-wheel drive e-power X-Trail. I did want to get the 4-wheel drive version. Nissan call it E-Force, which is an extra motor in the back to help with the rear wheels as well. But due to availability, I was unable to. So I have got the X-Trail here with the e-power. It just hasn't got the 4-wheel drive, which I don't think is going to be that much of an issue though. Essentially, you've got an onboard generator. It's like your own onboard power plant. So the petrol engine doesn't actually interfere with the front wheels. It's used as a generator to generate electricity. Electricity is then transferred to the battery, which is then also transferred to the motors, and the motors then drive the front wheels as well. You are in electric all the time. The only time the engine will ever cut in is when the electric battery needs charging, or if it needs a bit more power. You'll hear the petrol engine, it will emit fumes, but it will not be turning the front wheels. And you can actually see it in this energy flow animation, drip feeding the electricity from the battery to the front motors. So you're never going to run out of electricity, if that makes sense. You don't have to charge the e-power. You just use it and fill it up in a normal petrol station. Look, you've got quite a few driving modes. You've got full EV, where it'll just set off quite quietly. You've got e-pedal mode, where it'll use one pedal to brake and accelerate. So when you come off the accelerator, it'll then brake for you. That also helps with regenerative braking, with the kinetic energy back into the battery. But you also have drive and B. B is pretty much exactly the same as e-pedal, but just not as severe. So I'm going to set off in full EV mode. So it's going to be totally quiet. It'll deaden the engine, so I shouldn't hear anything. Yeah, I like how smooth the e-power powertrain is. I think that's what a lot of people need to realise. The e-power is more to do with smoothness and a totally different take on a normal hybrid. If you do accelerate hard though, it will kick in the petrol engine as well to help power the motors more. So the pickup on the X-Trail is really good for such a big car as well, because you've got that electric motor to help boost it. And yeah, so I'm on a slip road now, foot to the floor, seems very, yeah, it picks up really well. And of course you can hear the engine whining just a little bit, but it's not garish, it's not loud. Don't really feel there's huge amounts of power. You've definitely got the torque there, but then that just kind of fizzles out a little bit in the mid-range or higher speeds. There is a bit of body roll though at higher speeds, and because the steering's quite light, but at lower speeds it seems to cope well around the corners. There's a tiny bit of leaning as well, due to probably the size of the car and obviously the height. The gearbox in this is just a continuous transmission. Suspension's fine, potholes you don't really feel them or hear them, but it brakes gently enough. I don't know if you'd need to go all-wheel drive all the time. Let us know what you think. Would you go all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive in the X-Trail, or would you just go with the two-wheel drive version? A big shout out to Nissan Westway in Manchester for letting us review this new X-Trail. If you are interested and would like to know more, we'll leave a link in the description below. So let's wrap up this video on the new X-Trail with e-power. It's Nissan's family crossover. It's the big brother of the Qashqai, but it has some off-roading capabilities. You can even have a 7-seat setup as well. I do like how you can potentially have such a smooth ride with a big car and also have the elements of an electric car. What's more important though is we'd like to know what you think. If the Nissan X-Trail you think is worth it, give us a big thumbs up, but also let us know in the comments below, even if you don't. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope to see you on the next one on Is It Worth It?